Hey everybody, and welcome to the 6th episode of the 3D Pong Clone tutorial series in Unity. In this episode, we're going to be adding in a couple of sound effects for our game. The first one being for when our ball hits an object, and the second one being for when either player 1 or player 2 scores a goal. So the first thing we're going to do is download both of these sound effects, and we're going to be getting them from a place called Zapsplat.com, which is a place where you can get free sound effects and music. Don't worry, it's completely free. All you have to do is make an account and you'll be able to download the MP3 files. And I'll be putting both of these links instead of a text file, which you can find under Projects and Resources. So what you want to do is open up both links. Then you want to click where it says MP3 and hit Download MP3. Now real quick, I am not affiliated with this site in any way, and if you guys want to use another site to get your sounds, that is completely okay. So you're going to need to do the same thing for the other sound effect. And once again, feel free to use whatever sounds you want. It's not going to make any difference in the steps required. Then, back in Unity, in our Assets folder, we're going to go ahead and create a brand new folder. And I'm just going to call this Sounds. Then you'll want to open up the folder that has the two sound effects that you just downloaded. For most of you, this will probably be in your Downloads folder. Then we're simply going to click and drag them into our Sounds folder. Next, we're going to create a couple of empty objects to hold each one of our sound files. So we'll go ahead and right-click on the hierarchy and go to Create Empty. Then I'm just going to call this first one Ball Collision Effect. Then we're going to create another empty object and then call this Goal Effect. Then on our Ball Collision Effect object, I'm going to go to Add Component. Then I'm going to type Audio, go to Audio Source. Then we're going to uncheck this Play on Awake so that it doesn't play immediately when we start our game. Then this right sound for me is my ping pong ball ×4 bounce sound. And that's the one I'm going to use for our goal. And this other one I'm going to use for when the ball hits an object. So I'll go to Ball Collision Effect. Then I'll drag this sound on the left over to my audio clip here inside the audio source. Then we're going to do the same thing for our goal effect, except we're going to use the other sound. So I'll go to Add Component, Audio Source. We'll drag our sound in, and I'll uncheck Play on Awake. Then what we're going to do is make both of these objects a child of our ball object. So all we have to do is click and drag them onto our ball object, like so. Next, we're going to add in the code for playing our sound effects. So we'll go to our scripts, and we're going to open both our ball script and our score script. So in our ball script, we're going to be creating a reference to our ball collision effect object and the audio source within it. So up here at the top, we're going to say private game object with a capital G and O, and we'll call this collision effect object. And we want this to be available in the inspector, so right above it, we're going to say serialized field, just like we did up here above, for our speed variable. So I'll just copy and paste this. Then below this line here, we're going to say private audio source with the capital A and S, and we'll call this collision effect. Then we need to set our audio source here equal to the audio source component in this object. So down in our start method here, right at the beginning, we're going to say collision effect equals collision effect object dot get component with a capital G and C, the less than symbol, audio source with a capital A and S, the greater than symbol, open and close parentheses, and a semicolon at the end. And lastly for the script, we need to add in the code for actually playing the sound. So for this one here, we're going to go down to our onCollisionEnter method, and below our debug.log line, we're going to say collisionEffect.play with a capital P. Then open and close parentheses and a semicolon at the end. Then we can go ahead and save. So what this method here does is it plays the sound attached to our audio source component. Then we're going to go over to our score script and essentially do the exact same thing, but for our other sound effect. So at the top here, we'll say serialized field inside of square brackets. Then we'll say private game object, and we'll call this one goal effect object. Then down below this, we'll say private audio source. We'll call this one goal effect, just like that. Then once again, we're going to set our audio source equal to the audio source component from this object. So at the beginning of our start method again, we'll say goal effect equals goal effect object dot get component, and inside the less than and greater than symbol, we'll say audio source, open and close parentheses, and a semicolon at the end. Then to play the sound, we're going to go all the way down to our onTriggerEnter method, and inside the method and outside of both of the if statements, as we don't really care which if statement it runs, we'll just say goal effect dot play with a capital P, open and close parentheses, and a semicolon at the end. We'll hit save. Then we'll go back to Unity. And real quick, we're just going to take a quick look at our audio source component here. So this has a bunch of different options, which I encourage you to look over, such as for muting, looping, playing on awake. You can adjust the priority of the sound, you can adjust the volume, the pitch, etc. Then lastly, all we need to do is set our references. So on our ball object, we'll go down to our ball script, and for our collision effect object, we'll drag in our ball collision effect object here. And for our goal effect object, we'll drag in our goal effect object here. Then, before we play our game, there's one last thing I wanted to mention. So, when you are using audio sources, you also need an audio listener to actually pick up the sound. And by default, your main camera has an audio listener on it. Anyways, let's go ahead and hit play. And now, as you can tell, our ball creates a sound anytime that it collides with an object, or if a player scores a goal. So, there you go. Anyways, that is it for this video. In the next video, we're going to be creating a pause function for our game. Yeah, I know it's Pong, and the odds of you guys needing to pause your game is pretty much slim to none, but I thought it'd be a good time to show you guys how to do it anyways. So make sure you save what you have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.